When you're demonstrating your leadership potential, there are three key things you need to observe. The first is identify a problem. 2, solve the problem. 3, show your impact. Only those three things. So I'm going to give you good examples, relevant examples that you can use that kind of make sense and you can adapt to your setting. Okay? So let's say you want to focus on step 1, and step 1 was identifying a problem. So this has to be a problem that affects your community, where you live. Have you identified a societal problem that is really prevalent in your community, and what is it? So I'm going to talk about 3 examples. The first one is going to be, let's say for example, you've noticed that there's an increasing or alarming rate of gender-based violence in your community and you want to do something about it. That is a problem. Another problem could be that you've noticed climate is changing. We are getting floods at very odd times during the year. We are getting rains at times when initially years back those were considered dry seasons. We are now getting rains on dry seasons. So that means that the climate is changing and we need to do something about it. That is a problem that affects your community. You've noticed that young people are missing out on certain skills, or they're scared of entering certain fields in STEM, such as computer science or coding, and you want to do something about it. You want to help young people to improve their coding skills. That is a problem you've identified and you want to solve. So now you have 3 examples of problems that you've identified. Move to number 2. How do you solve them? So solve the problem. Let's take the example of gender-based violence. You've identified the problem, there's gender-based violence in your community and the rates are increasing. Now you want to solve it. So you could start by, for example, doing something as simple as setting up a Facebook page where this is a private group of people who've suffered from gender-based violence and they want to talk about their experiences. Or you set up a hotline, a private hotline, that people who are currently suffering from gender-based violence can ring that number, and you link them to organizations that can assist them. Or you work hand in hand with another organization to develop a niche method that you're using. So you could, if you have access to space, you could, for example, offer temporary shelter for people who suffered from gender-based violence and are looking for help. So a temporary shelter where you can help to connect them with other bigger organizations that can give them the relevant aid that they need. And you have to do something that you can do over time. You have to pick a solution that you know you can sustain. Another example was, maybe you've noticed this climate change. A good example of what you could do is start a tree planting exercise. Maybe you could, for example, work with schools, work with universities to have tree planting ceremonies. You can raise funds to buy seedlings or to buy small trees that you can then replant into different areas, maybe schools or universities. Work with organizations that already do this so that they can support you, and you can really have a larger impact in terms of what your organization is doing. And then again, remember, when you're solving the problem, you need to have an official initiative. Name your program, name your initiative so that it catches on. So if it is a tree planting initiative, you could call it Smart Trees or whatever, really. Trees for a Change, anything. But have a catchy name that then people can get used to, and make sure that is the name you're using consistently for your initiative. That is the climate change solution. So the other one was about coding. Maybe you notice people are scared of computer science fields and you want to promote, participation of young people in those fields. So maybe you start a coding boot camp. Yeah. So it could be an online boot camp, it could be a physical one if you have space, where you coordinate with different young people and you come up with programs that you can tailor to the level of the kind of students you're recruiting or young people you're recruiting to your program. And just like that, you started a coding program, give it a name, and there it is. You're already solving the problem because you're exposing these young people to programs they can use to build their confidence when it comes to studying subjects like computer science, for example. Okay, so that was step 2, solving the problem. So step 3, which is very important, you need to demonstrate impact. So the only way to show impact really is to report. Remember, they say if people don't know about it, it didn't happen. Okay, so you need to report, and part of reporting is also taking pictures, taking small clips, video clips that show you actually doing that activity. And then you have to have a repository for this. So if you don't have the funds to create a website, for example, you could start a Facebook page and add your videos and your pictures to the Facebook page. You could open an Instagram page, but it's always best if you're able to try and start a website. Try and look around for a good low-cost hosting site that you can use to create your website, or try to get someone who's already familiar with this. Of course, this will come at a fee. If that is not an option that you can consider, there's also social media. So make sure that you're showcasing your impact, and also try and write maybe blogs about what you've done, and try to get testimonials as well. Get testimonials from the people you've worked with. If you've planted trees in schools, get the principal to say a word or two. Have some documented evidence of your work. And then on top of that, in terms of impact, aside from just showcasing what you've done, if awards come up, competitions come up, apply for that award. If you get it, the better. So when you'll be applying for your scholarships, for example, or you're applying for big opportunities, you're asked to show an example of where you demonstrated your leadership potential, you have everything. You start by talking about how you saw a need in your community, talk about the need, then 2, talk about how you solved it, and 3, about the impact that you made once you started solving this problem. And just like that, you finished your leadership essay. That is what you need to include when you're asked to talk about your leadership potential. Okay. So avoid just focusing on things like, oh, I was a prefect in primary school, or I was the school captain of my... That is okay, yes, that demonstrates leadership, and you should definitely add those. But if you're competing for a very, if you're trying to get a very competitive award, and you're competing with people all over the world, you need to up your game. Aside from being a prefect in primary school or being a school captain, you need to up your game. Yes, you can include instances where you are, for example, selected as a student leader in university, but as I said, that's not enough. You need to show that actually your leadership experience changed something in your community or made someone's life better. Okay, you need to show that your experiences made someone's life better, and that is what they are looking for. Okay, so I'll stop right there. If that was useful, please go in my comment section and say 100% or something. Just give me a comment or just say hi, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification bells, like and share this video, and let's just all participate in helping each other to get there, Okay, so that's all for today, and I'll see you in my next video. All right, bye bye.